All right, guys, welcome. All right, so based off of the last trade that I analyzed for you on US oil, I was anticipating that after the indications, after the higher high has been formed, we will anticipate to see a higher low, and then after the higher low is formed, we would look to get a new high being formed in the market. And that is exactly what is happening right now. I'm about to show you guys. All right, now when you take a look at this lower high, price had a very strong bearish push up to this lower low. All right, a new lower high was formed in the market. All right, ideally this is where the change of structure begins in the market. Ideally, what we are expected to see is price comes down all the way to this point and then breaks this low right here. But what price did instead was price created a higher low. That is why you can see this HL. All right, HL higher low. Price created this higher low, and then what the price did do instead, price created a new structure shift in the market. All right, price created this new structure shift. This is the daily time frame on US oil. All right, on US oil, price created this new structure shift, taking out this previous high, this previous lower high, guys. And now what do we see after that structure shift has been formed? We see a correction phase coming into the market. All right, this correction phase would come all the way down. This is the new higher high in the market, and then we're hoping to see a new higher low to this area before price continue up to this point. All right, I'll take you guys to the 4-hour time frame for better analysis. Now on the 4-hour time frame, what do we see? We see higher high being formed in the market. We see a higher low. We see a lower high. We see a lower low, right? And then we see a higher high, right? We see a lower low again, and then we see a very strong buyer push coming to the market, breaking out the structures, breaking out all those higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. All right, now what do we expect to see? These signify that the structure has been shifted from bearish to bullish. If it was to be bearish, we will see a lower low and a lower high, just like the way we see here. But now that the structure has been shifted to a bullish push, we see a higher high in the market, and then now this higher high would signify a new higher low, and then after the higher low is being formed, we will look to take price all the way up here. All right, I would take a zoom a little bit for you to see clearly, guys. I'm sorry about my screen. All right, now this is what we have here. I hope you can see, guys. All right, can you see? What we have here is if price is expected to go down all the way to this downward move, all right, we'll see a lower low, and then a lower high, and then a new lower low, breaking past this previous low, and then after that has been formed, we see a new lower high. All right, but in this case, what do we see? Instead of a lower high, we see a new higher high being formed. All right, this higher high being formed, taking out this previous high, and after the high was formed, we saw something like a correction, responding to the buyers that were here, because these were the previous points where the last final boss were. Remember the final boss narration, guys. Remember the final boss narration. I'm going to put a line right there so you can see clearly. All right. Now, this final boss, this was the last point sellers came into the market so aggressively. Sellers came into the market and they pushed price all the way downwards. All right. And then what do we see after sellers came into the market? We see buyers coming from this point, from this area. Buyers come into the market and then they push price all the way up. All right. Immediately price takes out this high. This was the final boss territory. Immediately the buyers take out the final boss. What do we see? Just like we saw on XAU USD analysis, we see that price breaks past the final boss territory, and then we have a correction. All right, there's a new high being formed and a correction to see if price would still be able to go downwards. But unfortunately, price has a new domain in the market, a new boss is in the market, and then price stops on the structural line it broke out from, and then we see a new bias coming to the market. All right, what we're expecting to see from this point is a continuation to this line. All right, and then we take price all the way up here. All right, I'll be entering my trade immediately price gets to that line right there, that resistance that buyers broke out from, and then I'll be looking to take price from that point. But what I would look forward to before taking the trade would be this, and this is something I like for you guys to look out for. All right, now when price comes down back to this resistance point it once broke out from, when price gets back to this point, we hope to see is something like higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, and then a higher high, a higher low. Now, how are we going to see this higher high and higher low? We would switch to the 15-minute time frame once price gets to that point to look for our entry. All right, now this is the 15-minute time frame. This is the 15-minute time frame. All right, when we have a lower high in the market, we have a lower high, we have a lower low. All right, when price finds its way down to this line, we'll look to see a higher high and a higher low, and a higher high and a higher low. Now this is 15-minute time frame, and it is going to be very obvious because it's a small candle formation and it is only used for entry, while the 1 hour and 4 hour is used for the directional move of the ultimate direction of the market. All right, with that being said, I will see you in the next drop after I already placed my trade. All right, and the amount I'm willing to risk for this trade, guys. I'll see you, and thank you for watching.